hazards outlook echoes that sentiment with enhanced precip chances along the intertropical convergence zone, the southern tropical Atlantic, into the northern tropical Atlantic as well, subtropical Atlantic Ocean, and along the eastern Pacific coastline here towards the end of the month. Starting on the 13th, the Climate Prediction Center has a greater than 40% chance, yeah, 40% chance of tropical cyclone developing, meaning a depression or storm in the red area, surrounded by 20% chance in the hatched area or striped area and off the African coast. And then it continues, which will likely continue through September as well with these chances, um, given it's that time of year where this area becomes quite active, the tropical Atlantic. Given what we know so far, let's look at the current outlooks here. We have this disturbance that is initially was forecast to kind of hang around the southeast coast. Looks like it's going to move further off. I want to make sure this is working. Sorry about that. Further off the Atlantic coast and possibly form into a subtropical or tropical cyclone. Kind of the same path that Dexter took. And I wouldn't be surprised if it does that, but it won't hurt anybody. And it doesn't look like it's going to be near Bermuda either. Dexter is forecast to become a powerful extratropical cyclone pretty soon. Again, it's not bothering anybody, but the way when it formed, it became quite a surprise how quickly it formed, but it didn't take long to become a tropical cyclone. So I wouldn't be surprised if this disturbance here does something once it gets a little further north. And we have this disturbance out here in the the tropical Atlantic, South Atlantic Ocean, which is around 10 degrees north right now. And part of the problem it has right now is not much convection around it, but and eventually it's forecast to move northwest up into the subtropical Atlantic, which warm waters and all the way up to where the ISO 26C isotherm is, which is 80 degrees F, which is about up here. So I don't think it really has a chance of doing much right now until it moves up north some. And the reason I say that is, first of all, if you look at the phase space diagrams for this is a European existing tropical depression, not depression, but tropical disturbance. And I showed you this before. This gives an idea of what I think the structure will be, current location. And you see the 26C isotherm, which is just meaning that that's the edge of the 26C, which is 80 Fahrenheit SSTs, sea surface temps. And tropical cyclones require at least 50 meters of 26C or higher temperatures to maintain themselves and form. And I think part of this disturbance's problem is going to cross over what you can see here, less than optimal sea surface condition temperatures here. Eventually, it would move back up into 26C temps, which is the yellow area here, which is most likely why it's not going to form anything until later on, if it does. So if we look at I show you this quite often. You see how it wants to develop maybe a weak low, and this is Dexter over here, and then it kind of doesn't do anything. It even has a track there, and it kind of doesn't have much there. And then a low develops eventually, and you have something maybe here in the Gulf of Mexico. You can see how active the tropical Atlantic is. It remains. You have multiple low centers shown to be developing and possibly becoming a um, tropical storm out here. This is that European high res output. So when we look at model output, let's just look at the European and see what it says. I normally just do the ensembles, but this is a good European model is usually very conservative when it comes to developing tropical cyclones compared to the um, American model. So I'm just going to go through this. You have Dexter up here. This is, I don't think I have, let me see if I have a more recent run. There we go. So we have Dexter here. Move through the flow to the northeast. You can see that disturbed area off the coast here, just orange and green colors, enhance moisture. And it wants to get something developed. And you can see that other tropical wave here, indicated by Epic Pen. What happened to my pen? There it is. Right here, the wave axis. Oops. It won't let me draw on that. Anyway, yeah, the wave axis here. And what I mean by wave, there's you see the flow is kind of wavy right here. This is just a indicates a tropical wave in the kind of perturbation in the flow, if you will. So it has moisture associated with it, and then it almost wants to interact with whatever this becomes, possibly Aaron. It depends if it becomes tropical or not, which I'm not certain of at this point. It eventually wants to separate itself, and this kind of dies out up here and wants to develop some low pressure potentially here, like we saw on the Google DeepMind site. You have 3 different areas of interest out here, and these as well. So, given this is the European model, these almost want to dance around each other up here, and this kind of holds its own right there. So you have like 3 different areas of interest here in the tropics, and if they remain weak and don't develop much until they reach the Caribbean, because you have low-level easterlies in a system that is not vertically strong, so to speak. You only have low-level spin, and convection is not going up to the highest level of the atmosphere. It's steered by the low-level flow, which is almost always easterly. So you have easterly flow this way and this way. It's react convergence along the intertropical route. So anyway, this system, it wants to move through the Caribbean, wants to develop this other system out here in the wave, and develop another low pressure off the coast of Africa. So we could potentially, well, according to this is 13 days out, have 4 systems in the deep tropics as we get towards the end of the month. It'd be definitely interesting to see. I'd like to bring up the GFS model, see what it thinks. Even though it's in different locations, it wants to bring these in different locations here, but it does have these three systems. I'm not develop one here right away, but please don't take this as a forecast. It's just an overall model agreement discussion. And given that the models are already kind of agreeing on something, these being out here, I would tend to agree this is going to happen. Whether or not they're going to be strong or what the final evolution would be, the general theme here is the tropics are going to be active. Whether these cyclones hit land or not, we all know when stuff moves to the Caribbean this time of year and it goes over these islands, they're very mountainous and it can cause flooding and other things like that. Uh, if it makes it through the Caribbean on this model, it wants to is the GFS through August 21st. So take it for what it's worth, 2 weeks out, which no model can accurately predict this, but this is what it thinks. Very powerful tropical cyclone in the Gulf 2 weeks from now. As a meteorologist, I hate to see these millibar. It's 930 is a possibly a Cat 4 or Cat 5 hurricane on the Gulf Coast. Um, the GFS model goes out further than the European. And I don't like to show it this far out, but I get the general sense we're going to have something developing moving through the Caribbean in the next week or so, week and a half. But until we get a cyclone, a low that develops, and we have some models to look at all that data, it's hard to really tell. But the general idea, again, tropics are going to be very, very, the Atlantic is going to be very active in the coming weeks. And just pay attention to what's going on. If you live in the coastal areas, now's the time to make sure you're prepared for whatever may come. But you know what time of year it is, Florida, Gulf Coast, on the southeast coast. Just have your stuff ready. Don't wait till the last minute. You know what I mean? So, um, I could talk all day about the tropics right now, but really the sensible impacts to the United States, there are none right now. Um, and the one off the Atlantic coast here, let's go back. The GFS also wants to develop a weak low out here. So I have a feeling we're going to get either a subtropical or tropical system. But as of right now, the phase space diagrams, just want to go over this again. Don't, they're on the fence about what's going to happen with this thing. This is the European run. So it's hard to really know for sure whether it's going to be fully tropical or not. It may just be subtropical, but we'll just have to see. Next, I'm going to go over the excessive rainfall forecast, which is not as bad as it has been. Go over the extreme heat outlook for today and the next 7 days, and briefly talk about any other sensible weather that we need to worry about today for the continental U.S. Today till 12Z, we have a slight risk of excessive rainfall within 25 miles of the point, exceeding flash flood guidance here off the southeast coast. You see a sliver along the coast here. Day two, still on the coast here. Go back to day one here. We have some other areas It's interesting. Day one is now different. Must have just updated to the past 12Z. Anyway, you see the general theme here with the storms in North Dakota, around Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, marginal risk along the southeast coast. Kind of the same areas. Interesting. Tomorrow, day three, front moving through these areas. Marginal risk is such a rainfall and then desert southwest. Move a little bit further south into the towards Ohio Valley, desert southwest again. Day five, same thing. We look at the precipitation forecast. See the heaviest precip amounts. You're going to be mostly offshore along the Florida coastline, up into Canada. See the bullseye. Excessive rainfall. Most of it stays offshore again, with some higher amounts in Wisconsin, Illinois, around Chicago area, North Dakota. Again, moving southward into Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, and Wisconsin. And of course, around the coast of Florida, there's going to be a lot of disturbed weather along the southeast coast in Georgia. But overall, the flooding risk is low for a while, so that's good. Um, if you look at current hazards, I don't know if this shows air quality or not. Anyway, you have heat advisories for the good portion of the deep south here into the Midwest. Dense fog advisories, red flag warnings, which is and some dotted surrounded by some heat advisories, and you have the red flag warning, which is more of a fire type risk with winds and stuff and high winds, and potential forest fires. You have an extreme heat watch up here in northern Wisconsin, and extreme heat warning in desert southwest with a little bit heat advisory in southeast California. When you look at hazardous heat, you can see where these areas are and what I just showed you. Highest heat related impacts move eastward over time with that front that's moving this way. See what happens here. And it kind of washes out. Although it does warm up towards the end of the period, especially in Florida. This is next week. Cooling off some in the desert southwest and the middle of the country and upper Midwest. But the heat impacts aren't nearly as bad as they have been. And I always expect this hot weather returns back to the southeast eventually. So when we look at the sensible weather today for the nation, temperatures highs in the 80s for the southeast, and of course pushing 100 in the middle part of the country, and the desert southwest approaching 115 Fahrenheit. That's pretty hot, I'll tell you that. And you see these high temps up here, um, you know, when you have these high temps and you have all the parameters in play for severe weather, you can really get some intense storms. Move through time. See how it's pushing southward here. Desert southwest remains hot. Pushing further southward, and the southeast remains in the 80s, max temps, which is nice. Remains hot, as you can see in the desert southwest, which this time of year is going to be hot. Extreme heat for them is a lot different than for other people. So move You see how the temperatures start rising. Go through day 7. See what I'm talking about here. For the good portion of the country, towards the end of the period, is going to be quite warm, cooling off temporarily for a little while as the front moves through. But this time of year, you never expect it to stay that way very long. So I'll take what I can get. Getting quite hot in the northeast as well. These temperatures, the feel like temperatures. We'll look at that real quick. Heat index going through time. And we'll look at the doesn't tell me that. Sorry for the on the fly thing here. Heat index. Come on. All right. All right. Sorry, guys. Heat index is over 100 for the good portion of the central part of the country. Approaching, 110 degrees in Oklahoma feel like temperatures. You see what happens. The heat index moves lower as the front moves southward. And for the southeast, the heat index doesn't really get to where it levels it was before. This is on the 13th, which is almost 7 days out. Starts to get quite hot in the southeast and stays hot for a good portion of the country. Heat index values approaching 97 in the northeast. We'll likely have a bunch of different heat related advisories coming out if this plays out in the coming days. Anyway, that's it for everything, and I hope you got something out of this. If you like my video, I appreciate it, and subscribe if you feel compelled to. Have a great day.